Hey guys, this is Matt with BleepinJeep.com, and today we're going to put new tires on the Jeep. No, this isn't a how-to, but I just wanted to show you the drastic difference your Jeep can look with a new aggressive tire. But first, check out my website, BleepinJeep.com. We've got all the best off-road videos on YouTube, none of the boring stuff. We've also got tees, and we're about to get hats. No, this isn't it. That would be a waste of government funding, but we're going to get some Bleepin Jeep hats with this same logo, so check it out. Alright, so new tires are going to be pretty cool. So check this out. We're going to go from this to this, back to this, back to this, back to this, and finally back to this. It's a big difference, right? And all of that is the same vehicle, same lift, same wheels, same everything except for the tires. Makes a huge difference on what tires you pick. Now let's go inside and we'll look at some different tires for different applications. Alright, so these are the tires I chose to put up on the board here. They're going to go from no tread all the way to really heavy tread and everything in between. Now the first tire I put up here is slicks. Those are great for street racing, obviously on high horsepower track vehicles, but obviously you're not going to use those on anything else, especially off-road. The next tire you have up here is a road tire, something you'd see like coming off the factory trucks and cars. Now those tires are going to be great for street. They're great for rain usually, and not so well on snow, the kind of medium duty use on snow, and they're pretty terrible on everything else. Now the next tire I have up here is an all-terrain tire. I like to think of like a BFG all-terrain tire when I think of an all-terrain. Those are great for all-around use. They're great for the street, the rain, the snow, light off-road use. They're pretty good in the sand, and they use them a lot in all-terrain racing, like desert racing. They're not so great on the mud, and they're pretty terrible on the rocks. Now next up is mud terrain tire. I like to think of like a BFG mud terrain tire whenever I think about this. This is great for all-terrain racing. They're great for medium off-road use, great in the mud and the rocks. Not so great in the snow or on the street. There's a lot of road noise on the street, and they're pretty bad in the sand, and they're terrible in the rain. Trying to stop one of these when it's slick on a road surface is pretty hard. Next up you have your extreme terrain tires. I like to think of like a Super Swamper LTB when I think of this. Those are great for heavy duty off-road use. They're great in the mud and the rocks, but they're not so well in the snow, in the sand, or for off-road racing. They're just too heavy and bulky, and they're pretty terrible on the street and in the rain. Now next up you have your specialty tires. Those are like cupped tires that they use in sand racing and real soft dirt. Those are great in the sand and terrible for everything else. So as you can see, we've got kind of a triangle here, with the all-terrain having the most in the green here, and it works its way out of the triangle on the ends. So what you really need to do is think about how you're going to use your tire for off-road. If you live in a muddy, rocky area like I do, then you're going to need an extreme duty tire. But you're not going to be able to use that very well if you are on the road. If you're driving around on the road a lot, it's going to have a lot of noise, and it's just going to be really slick on the road. So if you live in a place like Moab, and there's where you go off-roading, there's a lot of traction and that kind of thing, you can probably go ahead and use an all-terrain tire, because you don't need so much lugs and so much grip, because the sandstone will do that for you. Alright, so one more thing before we go. I get a lot of questions about what size lift do I need to fit a certain tire. And for that I've made a list here. This is the tire size, and this is the lift that you'll need, and the model of the Jeep. So if you need that, just pause it here and take a look. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to check out my website, BleepinJeep.com. It's got all the best off-road videos on YouTube, none of the boring stuff. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel below. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.